the reason why you are able to, by the strength that God supplies, to live above sin is because you hate it first. Now see Hebrews chapter 1. It says, Hebrews 1:9 says, because thou hast loved righteousness and hated iniquity. This is what I'm hinging on. Because you can't just love, some people love righteousness but don't hate iniquity. And they wonder why they are not growing spiritually. They come to church like everybody. They pray like everybody. They study the Bible like everybody. They read books that everybody reads. But from year in, year out, you realize there's no growth in your spirit, man. Oftentimes, when you see that the effort you are putting in is not producing the kind of result you expect, check what you are doing wrong. It's not always about what you need to do more. Sometimes there might be things you need to take out. Do you understand what I'm saying? Somebody is saying, I'm praying, I'm fasting, I'm doing everything in the book. And sometimes maybe you come and you hear testimony. Maybe Pastor Gabriel is teaching and he tells you, oh, there was a time I used to, and you hear the testimony of what he's sharing, and they are the same things you are doing. It's like when the disciples tried to cast out the devil from the child, and Jesus came and did the same thing. They had to ask him, what's wrong? We did the same thing. The reason why they asked Jesus, why could not we cast it out, was because they said the same thing Jesus said. You see, just imagine, if Jesus had done something that they didn't do, they would have understood, okay, this was the reason why the thing didn't work. Yeah, they wouldn't have asked that question. But the reason why they asked the question was because everything they saw in the book, they did. So the way to live as a believer is to love righteousness and do what? Hate iniquity. If you don't have these two combinations, you have what our old-time Christians call leakages in the spirit. Right? Yeah. It's like you are investing here, but something else is sapping the strength of what you are giving in. You are making the investment, but there's something else somewhere taking the strength of what you are giving in. Because at every given point in time, you must realize that the flesh and the spirit are continually at war. They are looking for who is going to dominate. So just in case you invest spiritually for 2 hours every day, but the remaining 22 hours you have are minutes where you invest in the spirit, there goes why you can't see any growth in your spiritual life. It's not far-fetched. It's not. So, believers love, they hate sin, but they tolerate sickness. Now, the reason why, okay, Galatians 6 verse 1. See, the first thing that God wants to pass across to us now is first for you to get to a point where you hate sickness the same way you hate sin. That's just in case you hate sin, because in truth, there are believers who love the Lord, they love church, they love righteousness, but they still love the world. And I don't understand how, and those are the people who propound theories of when you want to eat with the devil, you eat with him with a long spoon. Why are you eating with devil in the first place? See, the spoon is not the problem. It's where you are taking food from. It's not about the spoon. The idea to using a long spoon so that your spoon and his spoon does not touch, or so that your hand and his hand, but you are taking from the same content. Why should you be eating the same thing the devil is eating? Don't you think it's an abnormality? It's like you dress up. See the way I'm dressed now. If you see somebody dressed like this, eating from a madman's plate, because madmen naturally don't like clean things. That's why they call them unclean spirits. When the unclean spirit drove that guy in the Bible at gatherings, he drove him into the wilderness. He was sleeping in a tomb. Graveyard was where he was sleeping. So if you are eating this from the same plate, then it means there's something wrong with you. So the template for living for the believer should be that he loves righteousness and hates iniquity. If you don't have that formula at work, see, you loving righteousness and hating iniquity will not see. When the principle for which you live is right, there are certain things we need to teach you to stay away from. There are certain things right now that you don't need to tell me to stay away from. I just know. And if you are that sensitive in the spirit, you would know when you give yourself to certain things, it saps your spiritual energy. Anybody here understand what I'm saying? Yeah. If you are that sensitive, you will just know when you give yourself to certain things and it begins to sap your spiritual energy. The rational thing to do is not to doctrinalize it. Stay away. Stay away.